Hi, welcome to the small shed. This week on the Cyclekart I'm trying to resolve this back end finally. See you in a minute. Now, a couple of weeks ago when I did the mock-up on the back end of the cart, I was starting to get all sorts of problems with the tail on the Austin 7 Racer being very small. And I think it's time to bite the bullet and do something about that. I'm going to have to alter the design slightly to get the motor a bit of room. So let's see what we can do to get it any bigger and how that will affect the look of the thing. Right, I'm back on the jigsaw again today. What I want to do is get the back section redesigned so I can start and make a wooden base, which is essentially from the cockpit back to the tail. And what I think I've got to do is make it something like 50mm wider, and that will give me a little bit of comfort both in seating capacity and engine space and transmission. So I'm just starting with the old faithful jigsaw again, and then I'll just once I've got the width reset out, I'll redefine the lines of the tail. This program has been invaluable for this sort of thing, because it means whenever you want a template you can just go and print off exactly the bits that you need, and you've got a full-sized template there and then ready for you. And in this case I can then just alter it to suit. So that is the back end of the car. It's the exhaust pipe down that side. What I'm going to do is go and measure I've got a centre line on it. I'm going to go and measure the backrest that I cut the other day and see where we are with that. That's 440mm, so that gives me 220mm either side as being my starting point at the bulkhead itself. And the bulkhead line is around here somewhere. So at the moment it's showing as 390. My side to side. So 440 less 390 is 50mm, 25mm on each side. So I put 25mm on there, put a marker, 25mm on there, put a marker, and that should give me the starting point for the tail. Don't think it's too much of a compromise. I think it's something you won't really notice you get going, but I think it will give me quite a lot of flexibility. That now is 440mm. So all I've got to really do is bring this curve round in an orderly manner, and in fact I can follow the exhaust pipe on that side. I've got some French curves that have been with me pretty much all my life since I started work. fairly big radius. Let's see what we've got. Right, it's more like it. So we're going to go straight as far as we can. Pretty much to there. Once again, obviously, when we get to the finished thing, we can be a little bit more exact, but it's let's see if we can get there first, and if not, we will have to go wider. But I think this will give me the sort of space I need. Right, so that's got myself a template. It's not perfect, but it'll do for the moment, for the purposes of what I want. What I'm going to do now is cut that out, put it on a piece of plywood, and that can be a base so I can mock up a rear end with sides and everything to make sure everything will fit. Originally the problem I had wasn't so much with the width, being able to fit the motor in, it was being able to fit the motor in if I moved it a fraction back, and putting that extra 50mm on the width means that the motor can slide back and forth far more easily, and I can check out to see how this package will sort of go together. So I'll cut this out now and come back when we've got a base that we can set up with a dummy axle in the right height, the right position, and then we can start and get to work. It all fits in within the revised parameters of the body line that I've got. That is the body line, so I'm well within the TAV itself, and even the existing air filter clears there, although I'm intending to put a different carbon air filter on it anyway. I may even be able to go back to having the existing tank, and clearly the exhaust will come up, over and down within this rear tail area. There's a possibility I can pinch a couple of inches in the cockpit area as well, and that would give me a little bit of room to move forwards there if I needed to, but I don't think I do at the moment. I think I'm pretty much there with the sort of outline concept. We'll check it all out when we make the proper wooden final test bed up. Now on to Mark 3 of the mock-up rig. I've adapted the Mark 1, which was just the sides that I put on the floor with the back on, and the Mark 2, which is the rig I put to try and set where the engine would mount and how that would work in relation to the back axle. And now I've got my posh new garage floor in. I thought I'd put the whole lot out on the floor and see where we were with regards to putting the two together and seeing what we needed to tweak. I've slightly widened the body at the cockpit, but not by much. The frame rails are going to carry on out like that, which is the sort of compromise that I'm having to make. But otherwise, I think that is pretty much the size of an 80% twin cam Austin 7, and that is set at the moment at what I believe to be the right sort of height. So the question now is, how easy or difficult is it to get in and out of? It's all a bit whippy at the moment because it's relying on not very good wood, and as I suspected, I haven't got the ability to get in that way where the scuttle is, and the dashboard is what I was afraid of, and I think I'm going to have to stretch it here. I've recently been watching a lot of the Dennis Thomas builds on the internet, and he seems to reckon you need about 24 inches from the backrest to the scuttle, and certainly I've only got 21 at the moment, and that is looking as if it's a bit of a truism. I can get some more clearance if I take out the arch perhaps on that scuttle, because that's effectively where the dashboard is rather than the main support, which is further along. And I haven't got a slope on the backrest, and that in itself could also probably help, but I don't think it will much, because I think that's the furthest away, if you see what I mean. I think the slope will come down inside, so I might need to fill it a couple of inches into the wheelbase at that point, and that's not in itself a problem, because I was aiming originally for, I think I was aiming for about 1650 for the wheelbase, and at the moment it's 1600. So I'm actually about 2 inches 50 mil shy on wheelbase anyway. So that may well be where the compromise has to be, and that's one of the points of this whole exercise. What I'm going to do, although it will be in the wrong place, I'm going to move the bulkhead 2 inches further forward. And that will give me a pretty good idea of the sort of feel that I'm going to get if I moved it, or if I extended it by that much. So That will be fine. Reasonably, I can go lower than this. I'm sitting at the moment at top of frame rail height. In reality, I hope to be 60 or 70 mil below that, a couple of inches further down, and can probably test that if the motor supports will bear my weight. I'll go down to there. Yeah. So, in fact, there is almost, I won't say too much room, but I'm going to need to be higher because I can barely see over the scuttle at the moment, but that's far less of a problem. And there's certainly plenty of width room. I was afraid I'd be in trouble widthways, but there's plenty of room widthways for me, and it will help getting in and out that I've got two frame rails sticking out at the side as well. So that's pretty much enough now, I think. I know roughly where I'm going with the motor placement, and I know that there are a set of compromises there with height against rear overhang. So it's then a matter of just fitting the motor into the back, and if it comes up higher as a result of that, so be it. I don't want to upset the lines too much, given that I'm relatively low down in the frame. I think 15, 16 kilograms on the back, 50 mil or so higher, is going to be far offset by myself being 30, 40 mil lower, if not more. And the further forward the motor comes, although it's higher up, it keeps the weight closer to within the wheelbase, so we haven't got so much weight hanging out the back either. So yeah, I'm happy with that. I think it's time to start seriously measuring up for some aluminium box section now, which I can go and do. And as I say, I will leave it 50 mil longer in the cab area, because if that is a problem ever and I find it doesn't look right, I can always shorten, but I can't add it on. So that's the next step, I think. Right, so I think that's got me there. I don't think it's going to be a particularly significant change. The thing might be slightly fatter at the back end and perhaps a little bit longer in the cockpit, but I think I'm finally sort of happy that everything's going to go together well. So another small step forward. It seems to be taking a long while at the moment, but this thinking things through, I'm afraid it's the way I work. I can't just dive in and start bashing stuff together. I like to sort of know where I'm going before I get there. But I think we're getting to the point where we can start and think about getting materials ordered for the frame and things like that. Hope it was of interest. Look forward to seeing you next time. We'll do something different on it. I'll see you then. Bye.